Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss dating, relationships, marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on our contribution page on our website at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to say to all of our listeners and viewers, I know that you are all waiting patiently for us to have our monthly segment on health and wellness. And as always, the first Thursday of this month, on Thursday, the day after tomorrow, we will respond to all of your communications about health and wellness, because with us in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, will be Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com will be here with us on Thursday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, you can go to her website and get information on health and wellness. You can go to her website and see what type of programs she's offering right now. She does take insurance. She takes Independent Blue Cross and Blue Shield. She takes Aetna. She takes Highmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield. She also takes Medicare. And you can find all of that information by going to her website at BeccaTheDietitian.com. She will be with us on Thursday right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband is angry all the time. And you want to know what can you do to help him change the dynamics of his behavior. So, I'm going to begin by saying this. You said your husband's angry all the time and he has some anger management issues. Now, fortunately enough, he is not physically abusive. We're thankful for that. But he hasn't learned to manage his anger. And then your concern is that he's angry all the time. That there never seems to be a day that goes by, and you didn't say this in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of your lives as I was prayerful about this. There never seems to be a day that goes by that he's not angry about something. You can't change his behavior. And it's going to be difficult. I'm going to tell you what God has shown me. It is going to be difficult for him to modify his behavior without some help. So I'm going to recommend two things to you. You're not in our area. However, if you would like me to speak with your husband and he's willing to speak with me, you can have him call me on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. But secondly, because he doesn't attend church in your area, but secondly, he's going to need both counseling, mental health counseling, not, and I'll get to that in a moment, it's identified as that, but he's also going to need some spiritual counseling. Even though he doesn't attend church, you're going to need to reach out to your pastor and ask him if he's willing to talk with him about the spiritual aspect. But he's going to need some mental health counseling, and let me tell you the reason why. There are some traumas in his life that he has never been able to address. He has never discussed with you, and he has never been able to talk with someone that could help him to navigate the trauma. And it's something that happened to him in his childhood. Now, there's a lot of people out there that carry little things from their childhood, or they will blow them up into bigger things to justify why they do the things they do. That's not his case. You know, and I tell people who blow things up out of proportion that happened 30 years ago, who then use them, I caution them, don't use them as a crutch to justify your behavior. So I encourage people to face whatever it is that they need to face in life and stop focusing on the past, because they use the past to justify their present. That's not his issue. Your husband has anger because of the traumas, with an S, that he experienced as a child, that he has never been able, he does not have the tools to navigate. So therefore, every day he finds a reason to be angry. Now, fortunately enough, it hasn't led to alcoholism, it hasn't led to drug abuse. What it's led to is defined anger issues, which he has not been capable of managing. So what you have to realize is that you cannot help him to change the dynamics of his behavior, because these are traumas that he hasn't even been able to discuss with you. He hasn't even been able to address them with you. So he needs both mental health counseling and spiritual counseling so that they can determine the root cause of the traumas that he's endured that has resulted in his anger, his daily anger that he's living with every day, because it's eating at him every single day. He's not even going to be able to modify his own behavior on his own. He's going to, and this is a bit of a rare circumstance, because for most people, when they deal with traumas such as this, they self-medicate. They turn to behaviors that are going to be, in many cases, their own way of writing a prescription and getting their own medication. It's usually drugs, alcohol, can be sex. There's a lot of triggers that will cause people to spiral into something that is going to be counterproductive for the quality of life. And the reason I said you can have him call me is because, first of all, you're not in my area. Second of all, I don't have any communication with him whatsoever. He doesn't attend church. So, and I can make it a little easier for him because he won't have to pull the Band-Aids off with me as he would with someone else, because God has already shown me the traumas that he's endured. You can encourage him to look at the broadcast. And then I can share with him what God has shown me that he's had to deal with as a child and now has carried with him throughout his adult life, which then will allow me to give him some peace as he walks through the circumstances. And then I can encourage him to get some help from a mental health professional, and I can encourage him to eliminate the pain of the traumas that he felt as a child that is now disrupting the quality of his life. And because it's disrupting the quality of his life, it's having a direct impact on the quality of your life and the life of your children. So I again will say, you can feel free to have him call me on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. I will even help him to locate a mental health professional in your area so that we can really get him to a place where he can enjoy a better quality of life. Because that's what we all really want to experience, is a better quality of life. And hopefully someday he will then be in a position to not only enhance the quality of his life and the life of your family, but to also someday experience the fullness of God. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, nor have you been a T-Mobile customer for the previous 90 days, you may call or text on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. You will be placed into our queue so that you can become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your colleagues are going through one of your colleagues is going through a separation and it is affecting her work. And you want to know, how can you help to get her back on point? So let me say this to you. You need to sit down with her and have a conversation. I know she's been talking to you about God allowed me to see in that secret place of your lives. You've been talking to her about the circumstances, and you didn't explain any of the circumstances in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of both of your lives what she's dealing with. So you need to sit down and have a conversation with her, because she's been communicating with you about the challenges that she's dealing with. And have a conversation with her that really will allow her to share with you what she is concerned about for the future. You know, the challenge is, so let me say this. I want you to understand that even though you didn't share, I know God showed me in that secret place that her husband has become abusive. He has a drinking problem. He's become abusive. It has gotten progressively worse, and now they've separated. Her concern isn't really about him, because she knows that he is not going to be any more harmful than what he was when they were in the same household, when they were in the same space. Okay. Think about this. It has gotten progressively worse even during the pandemic, but they've now separated. So she's certain that he's not going to cause any more disruption, any more pain than he's already caused. She knows him well enough to know that she doesn't have to take out a restraining order. She doesn't have to do any of that. He became abusive in the household while he was drinking. When he's not drinking, he's not physically abusive. But that doesn't negate the impact of her future and the future of their children. So she's concerned about that. That's really what she's more concerned about. So you need to just end the conversation with her, assure her that she will get through this, and assure her that you're going to be a support system. You're able to be a support system to her. I'm not talking about financially supporting her. I'm talking about emotionally being a support system to her. You're able to do that. You don't have a lot of other responsibilities, for lack of a better term, that you have to address other than your own life. I'm not telling you to become consumed with her life. I'm telling you that you are capable, and you understand that you're capable of being an emotional support system to her. To God be the glory. We all want to help in any way that we possibly can for others to build a better quality of life. So now they've separated. So talk to her about what divorce looks like moving forward, what her life will look like moving forward. Talk to her about focusing on her career to ensure that she can maximize her career and that she can then restore her own quality of life. They're not going to get back together. That's not going to happen. And she's right about her current spouse. He's not going to show up again. He has a very large ego that will not allow him to go through the process that some will go through of pleading with her to get back together and showing up and being disruptive. He's not going to do any of those things because that's not who he is. His mindset is, she's gone, now she's gone. And so are the children. He'll take care of his children. He'll do what he's supposed to do legally for his children, but he's not that kind of personality. You know, there are men who, when a woman and a man split up, who will keep showing up on your doorstep. They'll keep showing up at the job. People have to take out an order of protection. He's not going to do any of those things. She's right. So that's not her concern. Her concern is, what's life going to look like moving forward? You've now gone from from 2 incomes to 1 income, and you have to take care of your family. So those are the things that concern her most, and you have to explain to her that in order for her to restore some semblance of normalcy and restore her quality of life, she's going to have to focus on her career. She's going to have to make certain she's doing what she needs to do at work to keep moving her life forward and the life of her children. When you explain that to her, she'll get it together. She'll get back on point. I'm not suggesting that it won't take time, but you can help her through this during the remainder of this quarter, and perhaps the first month of next quarter. By then, she'll start to, realize that she's got to get it together, stay on point, stop focusing on the distraction, because that's what this is right now. And she will be able to get back to the place that God has appointed for her life to be successful, to restore, to ensure that her children are going to be safe and well, and that they're going to have everything that they need because God will provide. He is truly Jehovah Jireh. He is our provider, and he will ensure that everything she needs, she will have. This too will come to an end, and she'll be able to move on with her life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, you can check for the store hours, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And right now, you can order 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99 at Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And the White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on 5th Avenue in New York and a store at the Short Hills Mall in Short Hills, New Jersey. So if you're in either of those areas, check for the store hours, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything you could possibly need. They have home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. If you're not in either of those areas, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband says that you criticize everything and everyone. And you want to know what is the best thing that you can do. Well, first of all, you don't necessarily agree with them, but what's the best thing that you can do to stop critiquing everything and everyone? So you say that you do it because you want the best for everyone around you. Okay. We can justify anything. But here's what I really want to focus on with you, because this is what the Lord has shown me. The reason you critique everything is because you have some control issues. You want to control everything. So you critique everything. You are critical about everything because and I will give you a small percentage maybe that you want the best for everyone around you. All right, I'll do even better than that. I'll give you 25% of that. And 25% of it is because you have control issues. That's the next. So that remains 50% of your time is spent critiquing everything and everyone. You're really going to have to examine your measure of faith. Let me tell you why. Because much of what you're critical about in your personal life is because you don't have the level of faith you think you have. You think you have a level of faith that allows you to continue to move at the next level. But because you don't see yourself moving in the way you think you should move, you critique every little thing around you. Faith without works is dead. It's just hope. As long as you keep working, you're going to keep moving forward. And what you have to realize is that every time you critique something, you are causing a pause, a stagnation. When you're critiquing everything, you suck the energy out of a room. And consequently, when you suck the energy out of a room, that means everyone in the room is going to lack energy to do what you're critiquing. So we've got to really examine why we do what we do. And that's for all of us. We have to really take the time to examine, why is it that you think that it is your responsibility to critique every little thing? That's what you said your husband says. Why do you find it necessary to criticize people for everything you do? And I'm not talking about having a conversation between you and your husband about, the ways of the world, what the world is doing, things like. I'm talking about literally criticizing everyone who's not doing things the way you think they should do them, and you say it. Some things don't need to be said. Some things can be implied. Some things just don't need to be addressed, even if you think they need to be addressed. Because some people have to learn by consequence, not by instruction, certainly not by criticism. People talk about constructive criticism. Constructive criticism means that you are not only giving someone a problem, an equation, but you're helping them to solve it. Constructive criticism means I can add some added value by helping you solve the problem instead of criticizing. Or instead of just giving marching orders and expecting everyone to get it done in the time frame you think it needs to be done. So there's a lot of issues that we all deal with personally. And part of your issue of control and part of your issue of just wanting the best for everyone around you. It's really not an issue, because we all should want that. But then the issue of control comes in, and then the lack of faith, causes you to criticize in other areas of life. And that takes up the other 50%. Because most of what goes wrong in our lives is because we lack the faith to trust in God that everything's going to be all right. It really, we make life more complicated than it needs to be. I always think of the children of Israel when they murmured and complained about everything God was doing. They murmured, complained, they critiqued Moses, who was leading them. Everything's a problem. And it took them 40 years to get to where God had purposed for the children of Israel to go. And the people who were doing the complaining and the murmuring didn't even make it there. They died off in the wilderness because they were not part of the solution. They were part of the problem. It took them 40 years on what should have taken them 12 days. 11 in the day of rest. So 12 days, because you're going to be tired after traveling 11 days. But they should have been worn out from traveling 40 years, and they were. They were worn away and died in the wilderness. Died off. Couldn't make it into the promised land. You've got to ask yourself, what can you do to change your behavior, your personality, your state of mind? Those are all things that we can all work on. But those are things that you can work on that will allow your husband to see you in a different light. And I know that that is important to you because you sent in this communication. It's important to you that